Welcome back. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're unpacking a truly paradigm-shifting topic. We're looking at a deep analysis of humanity's oldest spiritual tradition, Sanathana Dharma. We're going to explore what it really is, stripping away all those centuries of Western categorizations so we can understand it as a complete, scientific, and philosophical way of living.
Now, what if the oldest spiritual tradition on Earth isn't actually a religion at all? Think about that for a second. What if the very lens we use to look at this ancient tradition is just flawed? When we hear words like Hinduism, our brains automatically try to fit it into neat little boxes we already understand, right? Boxes labeled religion, complete with founders, strict rules, and memberships. But as we're about to see, Sanathana Dharma completely defies those modern categories. It basically invites us to completely deconstruct how we understand spirituality altogether.
To really grasp the mindset of this tradition, listen to this ancient verse from the Rig Veda. This is literally one of the oldest texts known to humanity. It says, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one, the wise call it by many names. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. Right from its inception, thousands of years ago, this tradition laid down a foundation of absolute inclusivity. It doesn't claim any kind of monopoly on the truth. Instead, it recognizes this beautiful, universal perspective where multiple different paths can lead to the exact same ultimate reality.
Let's move to Section 1 and see how this builds, beyond the Western concept. So, according to the Vedic Wikidot, Sanathana Dharma doesn't denote a specific creed. Not at all. It represents a code of conduct and a value system that's centered entirely around spiritual freedom. You got to think of it less like an exclusive club with a VIP list and much more like the scientific method. Just as science is the relentless quest for physical truth, Sanathana Dharma is the quest for cosmic truth. Any pathway that accepts the spiritual freedom of others, well, that's considered part of this eternal Dharma.
And this brings us to a really critical concept, aporashaya. This is a Sanskrit word that basically means without a human founder. Now, unlike traditions that trace their roots back to a specific prophet, or a historical event, or a founding moment in time, Sanatana Dharma's authority is considered completely timeless. It's viewed as an eternal cosmic revelation, basically a set of universal laws that exist whether humanity is aware of them or not. Honestly, it's very much like the laws of physics.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast. On one hand, you have the standard Western concept of religion. It usually has a founding prophet, it relies on a single authoritative scripture, and it often maintains a sense of exclusivity, an in-group and an out-group that requires conversion. On the other hand, Sanatana Dharma offers a totally different framework. No human founder, no single supreme book, but rather this vast, pluralistic ocean of texts and philosophies. And the biggest kicker? There's no conversion, because there's no formal membership to begin with. It is explicitly universally inclusive.
Moving right along to Section 2, Brahman and the Atman. Understanding this specific dynamic is truly the key to unlocking the entire philosophy.
Consider this vivid metaphor. The creator is not a potter making a pot, but rather a spider spinning a web from itself. Now, apologies to any arachnophobes listening, but this is honestly a profoundly accessible way to understand non-dualism. In a lot of Western traditions, God is seen as a craftsman outside of creation, like a potter molding clay. But in Sanatana Dharma, the ultimate reality, which is known as Brahman, is not separate from the universe. The universe is actually an expression of it. It's made from it. Just like a spider's web is drawn directly from its own body. To break this down even further, let's look at the Advaita, or non-dual, philosophy. I want you to think of the Atman, the individual soul, as a wave, and think of Brahman, the ultimate reality, as the ocean itself. Now, through the lens of cosmic illusion, which is called Maya, the wave thinks it's a distinct, completely separate entity. It worries about crashing on the shore, right? But when that illusion finally dissolves through profound knowledge, the wave realizes it is, and always has been, made entirely of water. The wave and the ocean are fundamentally identical.
So, the crucial point is how this plays out in reality. Section 3, the eternal way of life.
Mapping out this applied philosophy literally transforms how you go about your day. It starts with Brahma Muhurta. That means waking up roughly an hour and a half before dawn for self-inquiry, right when the mind is at its absolute clearest. Then comes Sandhya Vandanam, taking time at the natural transition points of the day, so dawn, noon, and dusk, to just center your consciousness. And finally, Karma Yoga, This means performing your everyday work without any ego attachment to the results. These steps literally turn the most mundane daily routines into deeply sacred actions, fully aligning your physical body with the cosmic order.
Which naturally leads us to Section 4, the world is one family. Listen to this profound thought from the Maha Upanishad, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. Now, in today's context, this might sound like a nice, poetic sentiment for a greeting card, but it's really not. In Sanathana dharma, this is a strict, logical, and scientific consequence of the philosophy. Think about it. If Brahman is the one reality underlying everything, and the exact same Atman dwells in all beings, then all the differences between us are purely surface level. The whole world is, quite literally and fundamentally, family.
So what are the real-world implications of this? Well, they're actually staggering. First up, universal brotherhood. Because everyone already has divinity within them, there is absolutely zero need for conversion, none. Second, profound ecological ethics. I mean, if the world is family, that inherently includes the rivers, the mountains, the trees, the animals. You don't need to bolt the modern environmental movement onto this tradition. Environmental ethics are just embedded directly into its core. And third, an inherent, deep-seated respect for all paths to the truth.
Let's clear up some things in Section 5, misconceptions versus the timeless truth.
Perhaps the absolute most distorted concept of all is karma. Popular usage often reduces karma to just what goes around comes around. A sort of mechanical, cosmic revenge or fatalism that leads to a passive acceptance of suffering, or even worse, victim blaming. But the timeless truth here is exactly the opposite. In the texts, karma is the ultimate doctrine of free will and personal responsibility. It is the profound law of cause and effect in the realm of your own intention and action. It completely empowers you to shape your future rather than just accepting a predetermined fate.
And now for the really mind-blowing part, Section 6, Science and Timeless Truths. And this brilliantly illustrates the fascinating parallels between ancient thought and modern discovery. Look at the Vedic concepts alongside modern science. The Vedic assertion that consciousness is fundamental, that aligns perfectly with the hard problem of consciousness in modern physics and philosophy. The concept of Maya, or perception-altering reality, mirrors the observer effect in quantum mechanics. And the idea of Brahman as an undivided, interconnected reality, it is shockingly similar to quantum entanglement and non-locality, where particles remain connected across vast distances. Basically, these ancient seers were describing quantum physics through the language of meditation thousands of years ago. It's just wild.
As we synthesize all of this together, I want you to consider this final teaching. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the ego. You are not even the bliss you experience in meditation. You are that which is aware of all these, the pure, infinite, undivided consciousness. This is the ultimate realization of Sanathana dharma, the direct, profound recognition of what you truly are.
So I leave you with this to ponder. If reality is fundamentally interconnected consciousness, how does that change the way you live today? How does it change how you treat the environment, your work, and the people around you? Seriously, think about that as you go about your day. I'm your explainer, Srinath. If this shifted your perspective, subscribe to the channel at Srinath's 183 and hit the bell icon to never miss an explainer.